Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today to examine a challenge that not only affects us, but millions around the world, the financial crisis. Financial turbulence has long been a reality for all of us. A financial crisis is a global issue, deeply impacting the lives, jobs, and futures of many people. These significant changes don't just affect those directly involved in finance, they have far-reaching consequences for all of us in many areas of life, from income and spending to everyday financial decisions. To gain a broader perspective, let's recall the 2008 global financial crisis. At that time, the US economy suffered a major blow, losing around $14 trillion, and the unemployment rate doubled. This is a classic example of the harshness that a financial crisis can bring. We can see that these figures are not just statistical data, but represent actual losses with lasting impacts on millions, from large businesses to ordinary families. This event underscores that financial crises do not discriminate but affect everyone, from individuals to communities, from developed countries to emerging economies. We might ask ourselves, how can we survive such significant economic shifts? And is there a way to not just survive, but also thrive during such difficult times? This is also the focus of today's talk. I am here to share with you 7 essential lessons from Dr. Myles Munroe, a mentor, a speaker, and an inspiration to millions around the world on how to overcome a financial crisis. What's unique about these lessons is that they don't just stop at helping us survive a crisis. They also guide us on how to grow, even to transform ourselves sustainably. These lessons are not merely temporary coping strategies, but methods that can change our perspective on finances and how we manage our lives. Dr. Myles Munroe always emphasized that a crisis is not just a challenge, but an opportunity for reflection, for change, and for moving forward with strength. We will go through these 7 key lessons together. Each lesson not only helps us feel more confident in facing crises, but also encourages us to deeply explore how Dr. Myles Munroe inspired people around the world to confront this challenge. These lessons start with identifying true needs, living within our financial means, and learning to save and preserve assets wisely. These are basic but essential factors, especially during a crisis when every financial decision must be carefully considered. These lessons are not meant to instill fear of crisis, but to give us the strength and tools to overcome it. When we realize that crises are an inevitable part of life, they no longer seem so daunting. Instead, we can see them as opportunities to grow, to change, and to become better versions of ourselves. Don't just look at a crisis as a breakdown. Look at the potential and opportunity it brings. When we know how to face a crisis, we find that we can not only overcome it, but also emerge more mature and resilient. One of the first and most important lessons when facing a financial crisis is the ability to clearly distinguish between needs and wants. We often confuse what we truly need with what is merely a temporary desire. This is a key point where many people struggle, especially in the midst of financial instability. To stay resilient, it's crucial to understand what essential elements are truly indispensable and what can be set aside, sacrificed, or minimized. Many of us are easily drawn into making spending decisions based on emotions rather than genuine consideration. For instance, upon seeing a shiny new car in a showroom, many feel instantly attracted and believe they need to own it. However, if we pause to reflect, the question arises, is this car really necessary, or is it just a fleeting desire? The old car may still fulfill your travel needs, meaning that purchasing a new one might not be a priority in the current financial situation. When we truly understand and are honest with ourselves about our real needs, facing a crisis becomes easier. Needs are essential factors that ensure daily life, such as food, shelter, and healthcare. In contrast, wants are things that enhance life quality but aren't absolutely necessary. In financially challenging times, we need to focus on basic needs, ensuring financial security for ourselves and our families before considering less important aspects. A straightforward approach to identifying needs is to focus on what truly brings long-term value. For each spending decision, ask, is this really necessary for the long term? It might be a basic household item that fulfills essential needs or a service that supports the health of you and your family. If the answer is, yes, this is indispensable for life, then it's an essential need and should be prioritized. However, if it's simply a desire, consider if it can be postponed to safeguard your finances. In reality, some people have learned to live more simply during crises and found that not only did their lives remain unaffected, but they became lighter. Clearly, identifying actual needs not only helps protect finances, but also makes life simpler by eliminating unnecessary elements. When we focus on what's necessary, we find that both our finances and our minds become more stable. Remember that a crisis is an opportunity to reassess core values and build a sustainable life. If we can differentiate between real needs and temporary wants, we not only overcome the crisis, but also have the potential to create a stronger financial foundation for the future. One of the essential principles emphasized by Dr. Myles Munroe to overcome financial crises is to purchase only what is truly necessary. This is not just a sustainable financial strategy, it is also a way to maintain stability, helping us avoid potential risks during difficult economic times. By focusing on essential needs, we minimize spending on non-essential items, keep our assets secure, and enhance our ability to cope with financial fluctuations. One of the first steps in controlling expenditures is to clearly distinguish between liquid assets and fixed assets. During times of recession or when facing financial risks, investing in fixed assets such as real estate, luxury vehicles, or other less liquid assets may not be suitable. These fixed assets can lose value suddenly during a crisis and may be challenging to convert into cash quickly when needed. Keeping assets in liquid, easily convertible forms like cash or short-term investments is a safer and more flexible choice. Focusing on liquid assets enables you to respond more proactively to any situation, from sudden income changes and rising living costs to urgent medical needs. When you have a cash reserve, you can feel more secure, knowing that you are prepared for unexpected events. Many have gone through crises without this safety net, forcing them into debt or borrowing, which only exacerbates their financial difficulties. Focusing spending on essential needs is crucial during difficult times. Rather than spending on luxury or non-urgent items, prioritize expenses that ensure health and safety. This includes food, healthcare, housing, and essential services that support daily life. Non-essential expenses can wait, but establishing a solid financial foundation for yourself and your family is something that cannot be delayed. To achieve this, we must clearly define needs versus wants. Wants are typically short-term desires that can be sacrificed without significantly affecting life. In contrast, real needs ensure our safety and stability. From purchasing essential items to covering medical expenses, each financial decision should be carefully evaluated. Every time you face a spending decision, ask yourself, is this expense truly necessary at this time? Will it provide long-term benefits? Dr. Myles Munroe provided many examples of people who survived crises by choosing a simpler lifestyle, reducing non-essential spending. They learned to find joy in simple, sustainable things, making life less burdensome and reducing financial stress, thereby preserving their mental well-being. This approach not only helped them maintain their finances, but also allowed them to live more meaningfully, free from the weight of unnecessary burdens. Another significant point is to avoid unnecessary debt during a crisis. Debt adds substantial pressure, and as debt levels rise, interest payments can quickly erode financial resources. In times of uncertainty, avoiding debt is crucial to maintaining financial stability and security. Rather than borrowing or investing in non-essential items, focus on keeping expenses minimal and only spending on essentials. To accomplish this, consider creating a list of essential expenses and non-essential desires. Writing down these lists makes it easier to prioritize, adjust, and reduce unnecessary costs. You might want to renovate your home, buy a new phone, or decorate, but question the urgency of these purchases. Is it really a priority right now? Thoughtful consideration before every purchase decision is how you keep your finances in check. Ultimately, buying only what is truly necessary is not just a financial strategy, but also a way to control life and protect oneself from instability. When you learn to let go of non-essential desires, you will find yourself less stressed, better prepared, and more at ease when facing any unforeseen challenges. One of the essential lessons we must remember during financial crises is to live within our means. This concept may seem simple, but implementing it requires discipline and a high level of self-control. Living within our means understanding our current financial capacity, refraining from spending beyond our income, and avoiding dependence on debt to sustain our lifestyle. In reality, many people are easily drawn into overspending due to social pressures or habitual consumption. Quite a few get caught up in the cycle of purchasing, feeling the need to own expensive items, or desiring to maintain a certain image in the eyes of others. But the important question is, does your income truly align with your spending? Are you living sustainably, or are you overspending? These are the questions everyone needs to ask themselves to reevaluate how they manage their finances. One warning sign of living beyond one's means is overusing credit. Unplanned use of credit cards or loans can lead to serious consequences, especially when the economy faces difficulties. While credit use can offer temporary comfort, it can also easily lead to debt and financial stress. When we rely on credit to maintain a lifestyle that does not match our means, financial stability becomes fragile. To truly live within one's means, an effective tool is establishing and adhering to a clear budget. This budget helps you track income, manage expenses, and have a concrete plan to allocate resources wisely. A strong budget is not only a way to ensure spending doesn't exceed income, but also a means to prepare for unforeseen circumstances. By sticking to a budget, you'll clearly distinguish between necessary and unnecessary expenses, helping to avoid overspending and wasting money on things that don't bring lasting value. Living within your means also fosters discipline and self-reliance. When we don't let expenses exceed income, when we avoid relying on loans, life becomes more free and comfortable. Instead of worrying about debt, monthly bills, or financial pressures, you'll have the mental space to focus on long-term goals and self-development. This is a path to maintaining a stable lifestyle, one that's not easily swayed by external factors. There are many ways to control spending and keep life within financial limits. One simple approach is to ask yourself each time there's a spending impulse, is this expense truly necessary? Does it fit within my budget? If the answer is no, take a moment to reconsider before deciding. This practice will help avoid unnecessary expenses, keeping your finances stable and within control. Living within your means is not only a way to protect your personal finances, but also a path to building self-confidence and trust in oneself. When we live according to our financial capacity, we experience less stress and pressure. It's the peace of mind that everyone desires in life. Financial crises may come and go, but sustainable living and responsible financial management will help you weather any fluctuations with peace and stability. One of the most critical steps to stabilize finances during a financial crisis is cutting unnecessary expenses. When we face financial downturns, reassessing our spending habits is essential. Reducing expenses is not just about giving up some habits or activities we enjoy. It's a way to protect finances, helping us sustain and maintain a basic quality of life. In reality, many daily expenses are not as essential as we might think. This can include entertainment services, dining out, gym memberships or streaming services, and impulsive shopping habits. These costs can take up a significant portion of the budget, and if left unchecked, can quickly drain financial resources. For example, instead of spending on a gym membership, try working out at home or exercising outdoors. Or instead of frequently dining out, consider preparing meals at home, which is both cost-saving and ensures nutrition. Minimizing non-essential spending can help create a financial surplus, a reserve you can use for emergencies or even to help others in times of need. While this shift may not be easy, it is a vital step to maintaining long-term financial stability. As we cut down on non-essential expenses, life also becomes simpler, less materialistic, and more focused on core values. In addition to reducing expenses, there are many smart saving strategies you can apply. For example, rather than buying goods and services at a high cost, look for cheaper or even free alternatives. If a service is necessary, consider sharing costs with friends or family. Many people have used this approach to cut significant expenses, making personal budgets more flexible. During tough times, adjusting consumption habits can yield substantial benefits for personal finances. Take a look at your spending and reflect on whether there's an alternative or a reduction that doesn't impact daily life. For instance, maintaining an entertainment habit like reading can be replaced by using public libraries or free online resources rather than purchasing new books. These small changes may not seem significant individually, but when practiced consistently, they make a big difference in the long run. Cutting unnecessary expenses is not only a financial decision, it's also a way to build discipline and a savings mindset. By learning to forgo desires that aren't truly necessary, we not only protect our personal finances, but also cultivate a more responsible lifestyle, creating a habit of managing expenses wisely and efficiently. In times of crisis, maintaining thriftiness and caution is crucial for keeping finances stable and prepared for any unforeseen changes. Consider cutting unnecessary expenses as part of your journey to optimizing life. It helps you focus on what matters, protects finances, and allows you to enjoy a less stressful life with peace of mind, knowing your finances are always under control. During a financial crisis, one of the most important lessons is knowing when to delay major projects. This is not a sign of failure or lack of determination, but rather a strategic step that helps us avoid risks and protect our finances. When the economy is unstable, undertaking large projects like buying a house, expanding a business, or investing in costly assets may not be the wisest choice. Instead, postponing these projects until a more stable financial foundation is in place can help you avoid unwanted financial hardships. Major projects typically require significant investments of money, time, and effort. In times when income or the economy may fluctuate unpredictably, pursuing such plans can become a burden, leading to great pressure and at times personal financial crises. Looking back at history, we see that many large businesses, even leading companies, often adopt this approach. During economic downturns, companies don't just cut costs, they also pause or delay expansion projects and reduce staff to protect financial resources and maintain essential operations. Delaying large projects doesn't mean abandoning dreams or plans. It simply means taking a step back to assess the reality of the situation. Sometimes patience and the ability to control one's emotions are the true keys to long-term success. In challenging times, rushing into large projects can put us in an even more difficult position when facing uncertainty. Billionaires and millionaires are often patient individuals who know how to wait for the right time to invest in major projects. They frequently pause unnecessary spending and narrow their investment focus to concentrate on asset preservation. One valuable lesson we can learn from them is the ability to curb the urge to expand and instead focus on stability. This applies not only to entrepreneurs or major investors, but also to individuals. For example, if you're planning a home renovation or thinking about purchasing a new car, ask yourself if this is the right time. Such investments require not only a large amount of money up front, but also long-term maintenance and upkeep costs. During periods of financial instability, taking on significant new expenses can stretch a personal budget too thin. The patience to wait and pause for evaluation can help you avoid hasty financial decisions. If we can step back and carefully review our options, then when conditions improve, we'll be able to undertake projects with a stronger mindset and adequate resources. Emotional control and well-timed decisions are what set apart those who merely endure difficulties from those who achieve lasting success. Postponing doesn't mean giving up. It's about creating an opportunity to prepare better so that when stability returns, you can proceed with confidence and reduced risk. This is the art of managing finances wisely and effectively in times of hardship. During a financial crisis, one of the most important and meaningful lessons is learning to appreciate what we already have. When the economy is struggling, acquiring additional assets may become a luxury, sometimes even unfeasible. However, there is something valuable we can do. Optimize what we already possess instead of constantly seeking more. This is not only a way to save financially, but also a mindset shift, helping us realize that true abundance comes from valuing what is already ours. Appreciating current assets can be understood as not looking outward indiscriminately, but instead deriving value from what we already own. A creative approach to this involves maximizing the use of underutilized spaces or resources. For example, renting out an unused room or selling items you no longer use can generate extra income without requiring additional investment or debt. These small actions can increase your financial resources without the need for new spending. In times of crisis, valuing existing assets brings a sense of stability and peace of mind. By focusing on what we already have, our outlook becomes more positive, allowing us to confront challenges with clarity. Dr. Myles Munroe emphasized that true wealth is not merely about what we accumulate, but about the effective use of what we already possess. Rather than pouring resources into the pursuit of external wealth, we should focus on enriching ourselves from within and maximizing the resources available to us. Another aspect of valuing assets is understanding the long-term benefits they offer. When we appreciate and take care of what we have, we not only save money, but also extend the lifespan of these assets. This can be as simple as maintaining your home, taking proper care of your car, or repairing items rather than replacing them. Such attention not only provides short-term savings, but also establishes a more stable financial foundation for the future. Shifting from the constant desire to acquire more toward appreciating what we already possess is a profound lesson in finance and life. It reduces unnecessary stress, frees us from the race for material things, and allows us to focus on values that genuinely matter. When we learn to utilize and grow from what we already have, our lives become richer and less disrupted by external financial fluctuations. Appreciating assets also reminds us that real value doesn't lie in quantity, but in how we make the most of what we have. When facing unexpected economic changes, seek optimal solutions using your existing resources. This shift in mindset will help you live a more financially responsible life, creating stability without the need for constant acquisition. By valuing our current assets, we not only become more resilient, but also foster a more meaningful and sustainable life. When discussing financial crises, a crucial principle that Dr. Myles Munroe consistently emphasizes is saving, protecting, and preserving resources. In times of economic uncertainty, cultivating a habit of saving is not only a way to safeguard personal finances, but also a foundational step toward building a sustainable future. The habit of saving enables us to manage finances more effectively and respond more flexibly to unforeseen changes. To achieve this, the first step is to establish an emergency fund. This fund doesn't need to be overly large, but should be sufficient to help you cope with unexpected situations, such as job loss, illness, or other unexpected expenses, without needing to rely on borrowing. It serves as a financial lifeline, helping you avoid debt during tough times and keeping your life within manageable control. Low savings rates are often the root cause of many financial issues, as the absence of a reserve fund makes risks much more challenging to handle. When you have a saving habit, you are always ready to face any challenges without the pressure of borrowing. Protecting and preserving resources goes beyond merely saving money. It also involves adjusting consumption habits. We need to learn to reuse and repair existing items rather than constantly buying new ones. For example, if a household appliance breaks, consider repairing it before deciding to replace it. Or, when you have items you no longer use, find ways to repurpose or sell them. Small actions like these not only save money, but also contribute to environmental protection, reducing waste and using resources more wisely. Changing consumption habits to reuse assets can be as simple as repurposing old items to create new ones or making alternative items by hand. For instance, many people repurpose old clothes or household items to make new products instead of discarding them. By reusing and recycling, we gradually build sustainable consumption habits, reducing unnecessary expenses and making our lives more streamlined. Saving and preservation also extend to how we consume resources like water, electricity, and energy in general. In difficult times, consuming these resources responsibly helps reduce living expenses, allowing you to focus on other essential needs. For example, rather than using hot water wastefully, turn it off when not needed or switch to energy-saving bulbs. These small changes not only lower costs but also foster a green, environmentally conscious lifestyle. Knowing how to save and preserve resources allows us to protect our personal finances while also contributing to a more sustainable society. The habits of saving and protecting assets are not only beneficial during crises, but also provide the foundation for a stable and responsible life. These values can be passed on to future generations, offering them a brighter future. We have journeyed together through Dr. Myles Munroe's 7 invaluable lessons on overcoming financial crises. These lessons not only deepen our understanding of facing financial upheavals, but also serve as a guiding light to build a stable, sustainable, and more responsible life. Financial crises are not merely challenges, but opportunities to readjust our lifestyles, mindsets, and approach to life. The first lesson on clearly defining real needs reminds us that in any situation, distinguishing between what is truly essential and what is merely a desire is of utmost importance. By doing this, we not only avoid wastefulness, but also protect our finances and focus on the fundamental aspects of life. The second lesson, to buy only what is truly necessary, helps us cultivate a habit of careful choice in spending. When we focus on essentials, life becomes easier to manage and finances become more stable. This is how we protect our assets from unnecessary risks, especially during uncertain economic times. The third lesson emphasizes the importance of living within our means. This principle helps us avoid debt and maintain long-term stability. By living within our capabilities, we not only steer clear of financial risks, but also build a solid foundation for future growth. Next is reducing non-essential expenses. In tough times, cutting unnecessary costs is crucial for sustaining financial stability. Not only does this help us remain steady, but it also brings a sense of freedom as we shed unwarranted spending burdens. Postponing large projects is the following essential lesson. By learning to pause and assess before investing in major undertakings, we avoid unnecessary risks, keeping our finances secure in difficult periods. Knowing how to value what we already possess is the sixth lesson, reminding us of the worth of our current assets. Instead of seeking more, let's make the most of what we already have. This is how we create value from existing resources without additional investment. Finally, the importance of saving, protecting, and conserving resources is emphasized. In unstable times, safeguarding and saving resources help us achieve financial stability and contribute to a sustainable, responsible lifestyle. These lessons are not just theoretical concepts, but practical steps that help us build a stable, sustainable, and meaningful life. Reflect on and apply each lesson in your life, not only during crises, but also in normal times. By doing so, we will find that crises are not merely challenges, but also opportunities for growth, maturity, and responsible living for ourselves and our families. Remember always that overcoming a financial crisis is not only about assets, but about maturity and cultivating a sustainable outlook on life.